Hi, my name is Kelsey Killian. We're going to be looking at first grade alcohol and drugs. Because they are in first grade, the lesson is going to be pretty simple. And the standards that we're focusing on is students will be able to demonstrate the ability to use interpersonal communication skills to enhance health and avoid or reduce health risks. And so they're going to be recognizing ways to respond when in unwanted, threatening, or dangerous situations. They will also demonstrate the ability to use goal setting skills to enhance health. So they're going to identify actions needed to achieve a short-term personal health goal. The national health standards is the students will demonstrate the ability to advocate for personal, family, and community health, encourage peers to make positive health choices, as well as students will demonstrate the ability to use goal setting skills to enhance health. And the academic subject that I am integrating into this is language arts. And the standard for that is students will write narratives in which they recount two or more appropriately sequenced events, include some details regarding what happened, and provide some sense of closure. So the objectives of this assignment is that students will learn about the harmful effects of alcohol and other drugs and how to respond in dangerous situations that include them. They will be writing a narrative in which their character is in a dangerous situation involving alcohol or drugs, and they respond and seek help from a trusted adult. And then they will perform this narrative. And then at the end, students will color a printed coloring sheet and sign their name pledging to be alcohol and drug free. So the goals and essential questions we're looking at is, why do people drink alcohol? When do adults drink alcohol, and do they have to drink alcohol? How can alcohol and drugs hurt people's minds and bodies? What happens when someone drinks too much? What would you do if someone let you try alcohol or drugs? And who can you go to for help in this situation? So the icebreaker activity is mainly going to be a discussion. We're going to ask the students if they know anything about alcohol or drugs and allow them to share, and ask them if they know any of the negative effects of drinking and doing drugs and the dangers of them and how can it harm others. Then I was going to show a YouTube video. This YouTube video is about a little girl. Her mother wants to go to the store, but the mother's been drinking. The daughter does not know what to do. And so we're going to discuss as a class what we think she should do. Should she get in the car with her, or should she tell her no? So that's what we're going to talk about. And then for teaching, we're going to start off by discussing what alcohol and drugs are. So alcohol is an alcoholic drink that contains an alcohol, which is a depressant, causes euphoria, reduced anxiety, sociability, and intoxication, unconsciousness, and even death. And then we're going to move on to what drugs are. Drugs are medicine or other substances which has psychological effects when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body. And so we're going to talk about the effects. We're going to analyze the effects such as blackouts, dizziness, shakings, aggression, self-destructive behavior, nausea or vomiting. And so what are some situations that we can identify that involve alcohol or drugs? So the students, you're more likely to take risks. You shouldn't get into the car with anyone that has been drinking or doing drugs. We're going to be looking at ways that you can refuse alcohol or drugs. So we're going to list some different strategies. One of the strategies being, give the person a reason. It makes me sick. It makes me act different. My family doesn't do that. Or you could try changing the subject. You could say no, no thanks, not interested. Or you could provide other options or activities to do instead. So alternatives could be playing sports, doing homework, drawing, and playing video games. And we can ask the children to identify any alternatives they can think of and kind of make it an open discussion. So moving on to the skill development and assessment, we're going to ask the students to write a narrative, and this will assess if they have learned ways to refuse and how to refuse and identifying dangerous situations. So they will be asked to write a narrative in which their character is in a dangerous situation involving alcohol and drugs, and they respond and seek help from a trusted adult. So once they have done this, it should be about 4 or 5 sentences. They will be asked to perform it. And it can be pretty simple since they are first graders. It doesn't have to be anything in depth, just pretty simple saying no, just using the examples that we talked about in class. So to wrap up the activity, they will be given a printed coloring sheet. So I made one myself. I pledged to be alcohol and drug free, and then they can sign it at the bottom. And these can be hung up around the classroom as a reminder. So for this, they'll just need markers, colored pencils, anything to color it. So just to check that that the objectives were met, we're using the narrative to see that they learned how to refuse and identify dangerous situations. And by pledging this, they have met the standard of making a personal health goal. So their goal is to be alcohol and drug free. So that's my lesson plan. I hope you guys enjoyed.